Hello, and welcome to our presentation, Visiting Art Museums Around the World. So we are located in the Los Angeles area, and the museum that we got is the Rijksmuseum, which is located in Amsterdam. My name is Jocelyn Gomez, and I do have two other partners, which are Blessing and Jasmine. So a little bit about the history of the Rijksmuseum is that on November 19, 1789, the government decided to establish a national museum on the French model. This prestigious project was built to inspire patriotic feelings and offer a place to store important objects. On May 31st, 1800, the National Art Gallery opened and held more than 200 paintings. However, in 1808, Louis Napoleon Bonaparte decided to move the national collections to the country's new capital of Amsterdam. The collections were moved to the Royal Palace on Dam Square, originally Town Hall. There, they joined the city's most important paintings. This Royal Museum officially opened in 1809 on the palace's top floor. Later on in 1813, King William I relocated that museum to Trippenhouse Island. The museum was named the Rijksmuseum, but it was also known as the National Museum. Soon, however, a number of the collections were removed to other locations. In 1838, a separate museum was created in Pavilion Welgelegen in Haarlem to house modern 19th century art. In contrast with the Napoleonic period, the Rijksmuseum did receive few significant works during this time. The Netherlands deserved a proud national museum building of its own, and Trippenhaus was unfit. So Pierre Kuipers was then chosen to be the architect, and he designed the Rijksmuseum. In addition to the existing collection, the Rijksmuseum came to house almost all of Amsterdam's collection of older paintings. Works from Haarlem were also returned, and there was a dedicated space to house them. And this is the architecture at the Rijksmuseum. The architect is Pierre Coopers. Pierre is a Dutch artist, and the years of his artist were from 1827 to 1921. Throughout his time, he designed over more than 100 churches. He was chosen to design the exterior of the Rijksmuseum. He incorporated and blended the Gothic and Renaissance styles while designing the exterior of the building. And I find this very interesting because since he did design over more than like 100 churches, you do see those two styles blended a lot in these buildings. And the official opening did take place in the year of 1885. And two of my favorite artworks from the Rijksmuseum, first being Still Life with Flowers by Cornelia van der Megen, which was from 1762. Her years of an artist were from 1709 to 1782. The dimensions of this artwork is 29.9 by 25.1 inches, and the medium is oil on canvas. A little bit about Cornelia is that she was born into an artistic family. At a young age, she learned how to paint from her father. Cornelia grew to become one of the 18th century's most important painters of floral still lifes. I personally love this painting because when I am obsessed with flowers, I love everything about flowers, and this painting really captures the beauty of them. And also, I am very family oriented. So, knowing that she came from a family that, are also artists, she did learn at a young age from her father. So, I'm pretty sure that there was a relation and connection that came along with her in becoming an artist, which I I can see a lot from her works. My second favorite one would have to be View of Houses in Delft, known as the Little Street by Johannes Vermeer, uh, painted in 1658. His year of artist would be 1635 through 1675. The dimensions of this painting is 21.4 by 17.3 inches, and the medium is oil on canvas. Johannes Vermeer's painting depicts the typical life in the Dutch Golden Age town. So, what I personally love about this painting is how captured it is. It's basically like a shot, like a scene shot that is very hard to, you know, be able to translate that into a painting. And I personally, when I saw this painting, it reminded me of my mom's original birthplace, which was in Mexico. And in Mexico, from where her pueblo is from, they have houses, old houses that are literally built the same as this. So I found that a little bit of a connection through it because every time I go to visit, it looks the same. And what I like about this painting too is how detailed it is. So you can see from the bricks that you know the paint is chipping, even the ground. You can see all the details and how people are just living their typical life. And I honestly really did enjoy this piece. And then also this artwork is one of the three paintings of views from Delft. Yeah. Hello, my name is Jasmine, and I will be presenting the exhibitions for the Rijksmuseum. And here we have some of the exhibitions that are currently being shown or will be shown later this year or early next year. There's a Rijksmuseum and Slavery, which includes 77 museum labels from paintings to objects connected with Dutch colonial slavery. There's a music parade that is about 100 historical musical instruments from the 17th to 19th century. And next I have the Asian Pavilion, which focuses on Asian women, and it includes painting, ceramics, and textiles. Then there's Clara the Rhinoceros, which includes 60 objects, including paintings, drawings, medallions, sculptures, bugs, and clocks of the unique and most famous rhinoceros in history. Lastly, there's Crawley Creatures, which are paintings that merge art and science. And that one will be connected to the previous one, the rhinoceros one. And I think that the museum has a lot of variety kind of art to offer. From, as we could see right here, there's sculptures, paintings, objects, and so on. The first exhibition I will be talking about is the Vermeer exhibition, which is from February 10 to June 4th, 2023. And it's the largest Vermeer exhibition ever. And for the exhibition will include masterpieces that I have shown here, like the girl with the pearling earring, the geographer, the lady writing a letter with her maid. And his work is best known for his tranquil, introverted indoor scenes, his unprecedented use of bright colors, light, and his convincing illusionism. I think that, these are beautiful pieces and they have their own aesthetic, as it shows like to be more on the darker side. And yeah, looking at his artwork transports you into the Netherlands of the 17th century. Moving on, I have a fragile past, which is currently being shown through November 13, 2022. And it is a Meissen porcelain collection. These are some of the pieces from the collection, and this exhibition focuses on the collection itself and the history behind it. It originally belonged to the Oppenheimer family, and it includes tea sets that were actually considered luxury goods. While they still appear to be, luxury, but when they were owned by the Oppenheimer family, they were seen as luxury goods due to everything that was going on then with um, the Nazis. And the Oppenheimer family tried to fled their treasured collection of porcelain with them when they fled from the Nazis. In 1937, they decided to sell part of it to the Amsterdam collector Fritz Mannheimer due to financial struggles, which was the reason it ended up being in the museum. The details on every porcelain piece show that they are very high quality pieces. The collection was produced in Meissen, Germany, and the porcelain made in Meissen um, has been marked with the X on the bottom, which represents that it's like you're for sure getting porcelain. And then it these pieces are designed with chinoiserie scenes inspired by Asia. And I feel like all of the details are so like they wow you. Like, you wouldn't think that someone would put so much time into this. And obviously it's eye-catching, and I think it's a beautiful collection overall. Lastly, I have the Barbara Hepworth exhibition, which um, as we could see, there are sculptures and they're very unique. And it is she's considered to be a more modern type of sculptor. And you could see the on the left, it's the construction, also known as a crucifixion. In the middle, it's conversation with magic stones, and then on the right, it's squares with two circles. I feel like the titles are like very straightforward, but I think the way that she carved was very unique. And she made her sculptures out of wood, stone, and marble. Her sculptures represent modern work due to the different way she carved them. And I feel like this is just, a very unique and expressful way to represent herself through her art. Um, Now, this was one of my pieces that I actually picked, and it's called Still Life with Flowers on a Marble Tabletop by Rachel Rush. The measurements are 19.05 inches by 15.55 inches. It's an oil painted canvas, and it shows, although it's a dark scenery, the flowers stand out because they are bright colors, and she is known to do this with her artwork because it is very eye-catching. Um, she practiced um, painting and drawing because her father actually would have um, a garden, and as if you're able to look at it, there's like insects on them, which showed the nature of it. She was more of like she would draw what exactly she saw right there and then, rather than just like the flowers itself, which is very, I think it's very like natural of her to do. This painting connects with my culture because in my household we're always surrounded by flowers, and um, I am part of a Mexican culture, and my grandmother loves flowers. And when I saw this, it made me think of her. And she has a big garden, and my mom also is someone who loves flowers, myself as well. And lastly, I have The Last Supper by Gerbrand van den Eekhout, and it's from 1664, and it is 39.37 inches by 55.90 inches. This painting is also an oil painting, and the materials that were used were cloth and oil paint.
This is a painting of the Last Supper, which I believe is a representation of my identity. This art piece identifies who I am because of my religion. I am Catholic, and I think this is a very strong, like, representation because well, for me, I see a lot of these replicas in other houses of my family or like my friends, who are a part of the same religion. And I have always been a strong believer. And I think that this piece in general is just so, I don't know, it just brings like peace to me because I like how it's dark on the corners and then like it's really shining in the center, bright to show what this art piece is telling. And that is all for my presentation for my part. I mean, yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, so my part of the project was the collection. So basically, I did the research, and on the website I seen the Rijksmuseum has over 1 million different art pieces in their museum, which I find very, very interesting. And they have different styles of artwork and art pieces too, from sculpture to painting to landscape and etc. So the one that really stuck out to me was those two Asian ladies, because of how they were dressed, and the paintings behind it really stood out to me, and the colors and the idea behind it too was the one that really stood out to me. That's why I chose those two pictures there. Okay, so the second collection that I decided to do was social media. Basically, I decided to type in the Rijksmuseum on Instagram, since Instagram is one of the big social media app that is happening right now. So basically, when I typed it in, the Rijksmuseum popped up, and when it popped up, you guys could see that it has 763K followers, which is very, very interesting because people around the world literally follow this social media platform. Like, they follow the museum on social media, which is interesting because I also follow that Instagram page because I wanted to learn more about it and see the different options that they had. And I'm not even living in that country. I'm all the way in the United States, but I'm still able to access it from a whole different country, which I feel that is very, very interesting. And something that also stood out to me was the different art pieces that they posted on their social media platform. As you guys can see here, different paintings, different colors, different images too, that means different things from each picture. That's something that really stood out to me. And the last one was that picture right there. That picture literally has 11,195 likes, which I found very, very interesting because a picture gets so much likes over social media, which is very interesting, than you going in person to kind of view it, when you can literally view it on social media, basically digitally. And that's why I decided to pick Instagram. Okay. And the one I found interesting was this pictures here. As you guys could see in the middle, I believe, okay, this is basically a art Christian art work. Basically, I decided to pick Christianity because I'm Christian, and the one in the middle really stood out to me the most because, as you guys could see, I believe that is Jesus on the floor, and they were trying to crucify him, like put him to the cross. And that really stood out to me because of the architect, the person that made this picture, the drawing, the coloring, and the image, and the message behind this picture really stood out to me the most. And to the other side, you could see that the birds, and I believe that's Jesus sitting down, and his disciples and the people just surrounding him, just having like a peaceful time. And that really stood out to me too because of the colors and the visual behind this, like the message behind this picture really stood out to me the most. That's why I use all of those three religious pictures, if I might say. Okay. And the last one that stood out to me was the food collection. And this is Mary and Maria, I really don't know how to pronounce her last name, but what I liked was she used a fruit. Like basically she used a fruit to define her artwork. And I never really understand like why do people use fruits in their artwork, but now when I read about it, she used a fruit to symbolize peace and um grace basically in her life. Like that's why some people uses fruits because it has a symbol. It's a symbol behind it basically, which I found very, very, very interesting. The lemon in the glass that's like cut. Yes, that's what I really found interesting. And that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.